Next up at UFC Vegas 40, we have Ramazan Emeev versus Danny Roberts. Ramazan is 20-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. Danny Roberts is 17-5 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. We have another long layoff here. Danny Roberts has not fought in 2 years. He had a bunch of fights scheduled over the last year or two, and they were all canceled for different reasons. Danny has solid boxing and footwork. He throws very hard and has the power to KO anybody in that division. His takedown defense is not great, and his takedown offense is even worse at only 6% accuracy. That's got to be one of the lowest in that division, if not in the UFC. Considering striking is his path to victory here, and he had a 2-year layoff, could be an issue. This is kind of an uphill battle because, as we mentioned before, I personally feel that ring rust is a very real thing when we talk about strikers and timing, because that is a feel thing, right? You got to feel that timing, see the timing, and there's no better way to get the timing than to actually be in there, getting in the rounds, getting in those fights. Ramazan Emeev is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a solid kickboxer who will chain wrestle when needed. His takedown stats are not great, but that's because of the chain wrestling, right? You miss 2 takedowns, you get the 3rd. You shoot, he whizzers. You switch to the other leg. He comes up, you drop back down to the hips. 3 attempts, only 1 takedown. That will skew your stats. I will say he's more of a kickboxer than a grappler, but his ability to flow between the two is why he's such a favorite here. I mean, minus 225, that's probably pretty close to accurate. He doesn't have a ton of power, so this fight goes one of 2 ways. Either Roberts by KO or Emeev by decision. I like Emeev here and his ability to dictate where the fight goes. I like the fact that if the striking's not going his way, takes it down. If the striking is going his way and he doesn't really need to do anything, he can keep it there. Even if Danny Roberts and his 6% takedown offense or effectiveness comes in on the hips, comes in on the legs, Emeev will definitely keep that up if he wants to. I see, I see Emeev winning this fight. I think the odds are pretty accurate. Like I said, Danny Roberts can knock anybody out. He's got the power. It's very real. But the reality is, if Ramazan gets himself into some trouble, doesn't like how the exchanges are going, he could absolutely switch it up, change the pace. He does not have power, though. There is no power there. And that is, that's why I don't really see a stoppage on the Emeev side. But Danny Roberts has the potential for a stoppage, which is why this is a perfect candidate for the wins inside the distance decision, no action prop bet for Danny. He's plus 190. He'll probably get plus 120, 130 on that. If he wins inside the distance, that phenomenal power comes up, cracks Emeev, gets it done, I get paid. If he loses a decision, gets grinded out, gets beat on, no matter how badly, as long as he loses a decision, or even wins a decision for that matter, I'll get a refund. I get my money back. It's like a bet never happened. No big deal. I just did the same exact thing with Charles Rosa last week. I said he's always live for a submission, but he's a durable guy. I don't see a stoppage here. I did that bet. Charles Rosa lost a decision, and I got a refund. Nothing happened. All my money back. No big deal. So I think Danny Roberts is probably a good play for that bet, and I love those safety net prop bets. It is very easy to chase plus 400, plus 300. And you may say, oh, if I get Ramazan, you think he'll win by decision. Let me do Ramazan wins by decision, and maybe I'll get plus 100. And that's not terrible. That's the more likely outcome, but there's no real insurance there, right? He could still get knocked out. There's not really a ton of insurance there. And honestly, it's probably not going to be plus 100. But anyway, long story short, I like those safety net props. I like to find guys who have a path to victory but are pretty tough. I like to find the guys that can steal around, right? It's a close fight. The odds are a little crazy. They can steal around. And those plus 3.5 bets, those win inside the distance decision, no action bets are the way to do that. So we'll do the full betting guide on Friday, but you will, you may or may not see this one on there. I'll have to dig a little closer, see what the odds are. wewantpicks.com/bets. Bet Online is the promotion that has those really fun prop bets. $9,100 and $7,100. I don't like, maybe $9,100 for Emeev because there could be some takedowns, some control time, and he could score a good amount of points there. I don't like the 7,100 for Danny Roberts because I don't think he's going to win. I think he's going to lose. He will probably lose. But there's always that possibility for a knockout, which is why the bet makes a little more sense. But I'm not going to spend – I only get 6 slots in DraftKings. I'm not going to waste an entire slot on a Hail Mary knockout. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. The strike line, honestly, it's not a terrible strike line. I think it's probably the more and more because I do think this more than likely goes to a decision. So the more and more is probably the play to make here because Danny Roberts is a striker, so there will be some striking there. Ramazan Emeev will strike first. If he takes it to the ground, he'll get some strikes in there as well, so he shouldn't have a problem with the 20 more strikes than Roberts has. So I like the more and more here. I think that will happen. I'm actually pretty confident in that. So I would play that one as soon as you can before Chris moves these lines because these lines do move with the money. So I'd play that before the money comes in and moves it because I think there's going to be a good amount of more and more on that. wewantpicks.com/MKF to play those lines. It is super easy, and you will get a $100 deposit match.